My wife's married boss was on my hotel booking for her women-only retreat. The final Folio charged me for 2 breakfasts, wine, and his overnight valet. I sent it to his wife before checkout. 8 minutes later, my wife called. Maren called me at 8:17 on Saturday morning. She did not say good morning. She said, "Why did you contact Priya?" I was sitting at our kitchen table with the hotel Folio open on my laptop. The same document was printed beside my coffee. At the top, under registered guests, it listed Maren Reed and Aaron Vale. Below that were 2 breakfasts, a bottle of wine, late checkout, and an overnight valet charge for Aaron's car. Because the room was on my account, I said. And her husband was on the room. Maren lowered her voice. I could hear an elevator chime behind her. You have no idea what happened here. Then tell me why Aaron was registered in your room. The hotel made a mess of the company block. He needed a place to leave his things. The booking was changed on Wednesday. You told me about the room problem on Friday. She went quiet. That timestamp was the reason I had waited for the final Folio before sending anything. A name can be added by mistake. A breakfast charge can be posted to the wrong room. A hotel document cannot tell you what happened behind a closed door. But a change made 2 days before the emergency was supposed to exist can tell you that the emergency was not the reason for the change. Maren said, "You went through my private travel information. I opened the booking I made from my account with my card. For my work trip. Your work trip put Aaron Vale in a king room I paid for." The elevator chimed again. Then a man's voice said something too far from the phone for me to understand. Maren covered the microphone. I heard fabric move against it. "I will explain when I get home," she said. "Do not use my card for another charge." Nolan, stop making decisions while you are angry. I made one decision. Priya gets to know where her husband slept. Maren ended the call. The booking had started 6 days earlier with a completely ordinary request. Maren worked in regional sales for a commercial furniture company. Once each quarter, the company brought managers and senior account staff together for planning. Most meetings happened at their main office. But this one was at the Harbor Point Hotel, about 90 minutes from our house. On Sunday evening, Maren placed her laptop beside me on the couch and showed me the registration page. "Can you book this through your Harbor account?" she asked. "Finance will reimburse the room, but your status gets free parking and a better cancellation window." Travel was one of the few household tasks I enjoyed. I compared rates, kept confirmations in one folder, and knew which points were worth using. Maren handled our grocery planning. I handled trips. It was not a control arrangement. It was the same division of boring work we had used for 9 years. The company rate covered a standard room for Thursday and Friday night. Maren said the retreat ended Saturday after breakfast. I selected a queen room, entered her name as the guest, and used the joint travel card we paid in full each month. The confirmation went to my email because the loyalty account was mine. I forwarded it to her and added it to our shared calendar. "Do spouses come to the dinner?" I asked. "No. This one is women only." She said the new vice president wanted the female sales team to talk openly about promotion and client pressure, without husbands or male executives in the room. Aaron was her director, but she said he would introduce the retreat on Thursday afternoon and leave before dinner. I knew Aaron well enough to recognize him at a company event. He was 44, always wore a navy jacket, and had a habit of touching a person's elbow when he wanted to move them out of a conversation. His wife, Priya, had attended the last 2 holiday dinners. We had spoken about home renovations and the impossible wait for a reliable electrician. We were not friends, but we had exchanged numbers when Maren and Aaron's team organized a charity walk in the spring. Nothing about the booking felt suspicious. On Monday, the hotel emailed me and offered to upgrade. I ignored it. On Tuesday, Maren asked for the confirmation number again because her company needed it for reimbursement. I sent the same PDF. On Wednesday at 11:43 in the morning, the booking changed. I did not notice then. The hotel sent a short, automated message saying guest preferences had been updated, but it landed in the promotions tab of my inbox. The charge did not change, so my card app did not alert me. Thursday morning, Maren packed one small suitcase and a garment bag. She wore black trousers, a cream blouse, and the silver earrings my sister had given her for her birthday. Before leaving, she kissed me at the front door and reminded me that the retreat sessions were confidential. "No checking up on me because you get bored," she said with a smile. "I have survived 48 hours without a sales forecast before." She laughed. "This is why I married you." Her car left the driveway at 8:12. That evening, she sent me a picture of a conference table with notebooks, coffee cups, and a vase of yellow flowers. 6 women were visible from the shoulders down. No faces. The message underneath said, "Survived the first workshop." I replied with a picture of the frozen pizza I had burned at one edge. At 10:30, she wrote that the group was going downstairs for one drink and that she would call in the morning. That was normal for work travel. I told her to have fun and went to bed. Friday was when the small inconsistencies began. Maren called at 7:20 in the morning. She sounded rushed and said the hotel had oversold part of the company block. 2 people from another branch had arrived late, and everyone was moving rooms around. "You might see a weird adjustment," she said. "Finance knows about it. Are they moving you?" "Maybe." Erin is dealing with the front desk. I asked whether she needed me to change the booking. "No. Please don't touch anything. It will create 2 versions in the system." That sentence stayed with me because I was the person who had made the reservation. If the hotel needed my approval, it had my email and number. If it did not need me, there was nothing for me to touch. Still, room blocks do become messy. I had seen hotels split reservations, move guests, and post charges incorrectly. I did not open the account. I went to work. At 6:14 that evening, a charge for $186 appeared on the travel card. The hotel rate was already guaranteed, so I assumed it was the first night authorization. At 9:12, I received another automated email. "Your guest list has been updated." This one landed in my main inbox. I opened it because I thought Maren had been moved. The email showed the same reservation number, the same 2 nights, and the same room type. Under guests, it listed 2 names, Maren Reed, Erin Vale. I read the page 3 times before I moved. The booking still showed 1 room, 1 king bed, 2 adults. The first impulse I had was to call Maren and demand an explanation. The second was to call the hotel and ask for the room. I did neither. I saved the email as a PDF. I took a screenshot that included the reservation number and modification time. Then I signed out and back into my own loyalty account to make sure I had not opened a stale page. Erin's name was still there. I clicked the change history. The account did not show who typed each entry, but it showed when the guest count changed. Wednesday at 11:43 in the morning. The room had also been changed from 1 queen bed to 1 king at the same time. That was nearly 44 hours before Maren told me the hotel had an unexpected room problem. I called the billing number printed on my original confirmation, not the room. The woman who answered introduced herself as Camille. I told her I was the loyalty member and cardholder. I asked whether she could explain what charges I was responsible for without telling me anything beyond my own reservation. Camille verified my name, the last 4 digits of the card, and the confirmation code. "The room is occupied by 2 registered adults," she said. "The incidentals are authorized to the card ending in 0614. I asked when the second guest had been added. "I can see the modification time, but I cannot discuss activity at the desk or issue keys. Can you confirm the name on the charge record?" Both registered guest names will appear on the final folio. It will be emailed after checkout. I thanked her. Camille did not tell me whether Erin slept there. She did not tell me who entered the room. She confirmed only what my account and my card already made visible. 1 room, 2 registered adults, and my responsibility for the charges. I sat in the dark living room for almost an hour. At 10:18, Maren texted, "Long day. Dinner ran late." Going straight to sleep, I typed Erin is on the booking. I deleted it. If I confronted her then, one of 2 things would happen. She would provide an explanation that fit the documents, or she would remove the name and tell me I had imagined the problem. The final folio would be a more stable record than a live page. I decided to wait until checkout. I did send 1 neutral message. "Did the room issue get fixed?" She answered less than a minute later, "Yes. Everyone has a room now." Aaron saved the day. I saved that message too. Sleep came in pieces. At 2 in the morning, I got up and reviewed our recent card statements. I was not looking for an affair in every grocery charge. I searched only for Harbor Point, Aaron's name, and the 2 restaurants near the hotel. I found no earlier hotel stays. I found 3 dinners Marin had described as client events and 1 rideshare charge from Aaron's neighborhood after a company holiday party. Each could have an ordinary explanation. I put them in a folder without labeling them proof of anything. At 7:52 Saturday morning, the final folio arrived. The header listed my loyalty number and the joint card. The guest field listed Marin Reed and Aaron Vale. The itemized charges included the room, 2 breakfast packages, a bottle of wine from the lobby bar, late checkout, and overnight valet for a gray Lexus. I knew Aaron drove a gray Lexus because he had complained about its service cost at the charity walk. The total was $612.40. I called billing again. Camille was off shift. A man named Thomas verified the account and told me the folio had closed at 7:41. I asked whether the company master account covered any part of the room. There is no master account payment on this reservation, he said. The full balance settled to your card. Was this reservation part of a company room block? It used a corporate rate code. Payment remained individual. That distinction mattered. Marin's company might still reimburse a legitimate room later, but it had not placed Aaron in our reservation or paid his charges. I asked Thomas to email a duplicate folio. He did. The second copy matched the first. Then I looked up Priya's number. I did not write, "Your husband is sleeping with my wife." The documents did not establish that sentence yet. I wrote, "Priya, this is Nolan Reed. I booked Marin's room for the Harbor Point retreat through my account. Aaron was added as the second registered guest on Wednesday, and his car appears on the overnight valet charge. I am sending the unedited folio because I believe you should have the same information I have. I am not contacting anyone else." I attached the booking update and the final folio. Priya replied 4 minutes later. Aaron told me he was in Cleveland visiting his father. Then she called. Her voice was calm in the careful way people sound when they are trying to keep a glass from shaking in their hand. "Are you certain this is this weekend?" I read her the arrival and departure dates. "His father is in Arizona," she said. He told me the Cleveland part was a client visit and that he would sleep at an airport hotel. I asked whether Aaron's company had scheduled him at the retreat. He told me it was women only. We both stopped speaking. The same detail had been used in 2 houses for opposite purposes. Marin said the event excluded husbands. Aaron said it excluded him too. Priya asked me to forward the original email files, not screenshots. I did. She sent me 1 screenshot in return. Aaron's message from Thursday afternoon saying he had landed in Cleveland. The time was 3:26. Below it was a charge from their shared toll account at the Harbor Point exit at 4:11. I did not notice because the toll account bills monthly, she said. The exit was 90 minutes from Cleveland's airport and 6 minutes from the hotel. We agreed on 2 things. Neither of us would post anything, contact the company, or call family while we were still assembling facts. We would preserve only records we already had lawful access to. We would not guess at what the records could not show. I told Priya I planned to speak to a lawyer before changing joint finances. She said she would do the same. That was when Marin called and asked why I had contacted her. After our call ended, I opened the travel card app. I could not erase a settled charge, and I did not dispute a charge I had authorized. I removed the card from the hotel's saved payment methods and changed the password on my loyalty account. I left Marin's personal phone and bank accounts alone. Next, I downloaded 6 months of our joint statements, the mortgage balance, insurance policies, and tax returns. I sent them to a secure folder. Our paychecks both entered the same checking account, but most of the balance belonged to shared obligations. I did not empty it. I opened an individual account for my next paycheck and scheduled my half of the mortgage and utilities to continue from the joint account until we had written advice. At 9:30, I called a family law office recommended by a coworker who had divorced the previous year. The attorney could not meet until Monday, but her assistant told me not to destroy property, impersonate anyone, drain accounts, or block Marin from the house. I wrote those instructions down. At 10:12, Aaron called. "Nolan, you need to stop," he said. There was no greeting and no attempt to ask what I knew. Stop what? Dragging Priya into a company issue. You were registered in the room I booked for my wife. The hotel had a capacity problem. Marin let me add my name, so I could use the room during the day. Why did you tell Priya you were in Cleveland? He exhaled slowly. My marriage is not your business. Then my hotel booking is not your room. Aaron said the retreat involved confidential employee discussions and that distributing the folio could damage Marin's career. I told him I had sent a document to the other person whose household was affected. I had not sent it to the employer, social media, or clients. Delete your copies, he said. I will reimburse every charge. No, you are turning a logistical favor into something ugly. A reimbursement cannot change the registered guests or the Wednesday timestamp. He ended the call. 10 minutes later, Priya texted me that Aaron had called her too. He had given her a different version. He said Marin's room was used for confidential interviews and that several people had come and gone. Priya asked one question. If several people used it, why were only Aaron and Marin registered? He had not answered. Marin came home shortly after noon. Her suitcase rolled across the entry tile. She left it by the stairs and walked into the kitchen without taking off her coat. Show me exactly what you sent, Priya. I turned the laptop toward her. The message and both attachments were open. She read them without sitting down. You made this look like an affair. The folio made it look like two married people shared one room. We did not share it the way you mean. What way did you share it? Marin said Aaron's room had been given to a vice president. She said he used her room to shower and change between sessions. She said the second breakfast was a working meeting, the wine was for 4 people, and the valet charge had been moved from another folio. I let her finish. Then I placed the printed change history beside the folio. Why did you add him Wednesday morning? Her eyes stopped on the timestamp. The hotel knew the block was over capacity before we arrived. You told me the problem happened Friday morning. I simplified it because you obsess over details. Why did Aaron tell Priya he was in Cleveland? I cannot answer for Aaron. He can answer for himself. He called and asked me to delete the folio. Marin pulled out a chair. For the first time since she entered, the anger left her face. Did Priya send you their private messages? She sent me his Cleveland message and their toll charge. So the two of you are comparing our movements now. We compared 2 alibis you gave us. Marin said I had always been suspicious of successful people around her. That was new. I had hosted Aaron at our house after the charity walk. I had helped Marin prepare for the promotion he recommended her for. Until that morning, I had never asked her to stop working with him. I asked whether she wanted the marriage to continue. Of course I do. Then I need one truthful account before we discuss anything else. She asked what would happen if I did not like the truth. That depends on what it is. She stood and paced to the sink. The faucet dripped once every few seconds. I had promised to replace the washer the previous weekend and forgotten. Marin began with the version closest to the hotel story. Aaron had been unhappy at home. They had talked after work. He added himself to the room because they needed privacy to discuss whether he should leave the company. They drank wine. He stayed late. Did he sleep in the room? He fell asleep for a while. In the king bed? Nolan, do not make me describe furniture like it proves intent. Did you kiss him? She looked at the backyard. Yes. That answer changed the conversation. It did not explain every charge, but it removed the logistical favor story. I asked when the relationship became physical. She said Friday night. I slid the Wednesday modification toward her. You put him on the room before you left home. Marin pressed both hands against the counter. We had talked about it. I did not know what I would do. You changed to 1 king bed. The king room was the only one with late cancellation. I opened the original booking. My queen room had the same cancellation policy. Marin sat down again. The second account came in pieces. They had kissed after a client dinner 3 months earlier. Aaron told her his marriage had been finished for years. They began using work calls for private conversations. The retreat gave them a place where neither spouse would ask to attend. Marin added him to the room on Wednesday because the hotel required a registered name for a second digital key. They had not planned the room because of an oversold block. They planned it because the women-only description kept both spouses away. Did you expect my card to pay for it? I asked. I was going to reimburse the difference before the statement closed. With money from where? She did not answer. Both of our salaries fed the same household. I told her I had an attorney meeting Monday. Until then, I wanted the guest room and a written agreement that neither of us would move money, remove property, or bring another person into the house. Maren said I was jumping from one kiss to divorce. I am responding to 3 months of planning and 2 false alibis. People survive worse. That is not the same as choosing it. She cried then. I did not enjoy it. I also did not use it as a reason to erase the documents. That afternoon, we wrote a temporary household agreement in plain language. It was not a court order. It recorded who used which room, how we would pay immediate bills, and that neither of us would invite guests without written consent. We both signed and photographed it. Maren wanted me to promise I would not contact her company. I told her I had no plan to do so. I would answer truthfully if a lawyer or financial institution asked about the charges. But I was not building a workplace spectacle. At 4, her mother called me. Maren had already told her I was threatening divorce because Aaron briefly stored luggage in a room. Her mother said marriages required perspective. I emailed her nothing. I read 3 lines from the folio: registered guests, change date, and settled card. Then I said Maren had admitted the room was planned and that the relationship began months earlier. Her mother became quiet. Maren did not tell me that, she said. Then talk to Maren. I am not asking you to choose a side. By evening, the house felt divided by invisible tape. Maren stayed upstairs. I made pasta, ate half, and put the rest in the refrigerator. Priya sent one final message that day. Aaron had admitted the Cleveland trip was false, but still claimed nothing physical happened. She had scheduled her own legal consultation. She thanked me for sending the original files instead of a cropped image or accusation. I told her I was sorry we had met inside this problem. We did not continue the conversation. On Monday, my attorney reviewed the folio, the booking history, our statements, and the temporary agreement. She did not tell me the hotel record proved adultery in a legal sense. She said it documented a personal charge, a false explanation, and 2 registered guests. Maren's later messages and admissions were separate evidence. The attorney advised me to keep paying ordinary household expenses, stop using the joint card for new discretionary spending, and communicate in writing about money and access. She prepared a formal temporary agreement for Maren's lawyer to review. I moved my payroll. Maren moved hers 2 days later. We left enough in the joint account for the mortgage, utilities, insurance, and groceries. Every transfer was listed in a shared spreadsheet. The hotel charge stayed on the card. I did not report it as fraud because I had authorized the booking. In our separation accounting, Maren agreed that the wine, extra breakfast, valet, and late checkout were personal expenses. She reimbursed those charges from her individual account. Aaron sent a payment request for half the room. I declined it. Accepting money from him would not restore the marriage or make him part of our financial agreement. Maren asked for counseling. I agreed to one decision-focused session, not as a promise to reconcile, but as a place to determine whether there was enough truth for any next step. At the session, she admitted the affair had become physical before the retreat. The hotel was not the beginning. It was the first time they tried to turn it into a normal overnight trip. She said she had believed Aaron was preparing to leave Priya. She believed that once he did, she would decide whether to leave me. The women-only retreat was meant to buy them 2 uninterrupted nights without forcing either decision first. That was the part I could not negotiate around. Maren had not made one reckless choice after too much wine. She had reserved a private future while continuing to use our marriage as the safe current address. I filed for divorce the following week. There was no public confrontation at the office. I did not send the folio to clients, coworkers, or social media. Priya made her own choices and stopped updating me after her consultation. I respected that. Maren remained at the house while I rented a small apartment 10 minutes away. The written schedule gave both of us access to collect property and required notice before visits. We sold the house 6 months later because neither of us wanted to buy out the other. The hotel loyalty account stayed with me. That detail sounds small, but it mattered. For years, the account had held our vacations, anniversary weekends, and ordinary confirmations. I removed Maren as an authorized guest and changed the recovery email. I did not keep checking it for another hidden name. The last time I opened the Harbor Point Folio was during settlement. Maren's attorney accepted the personal charges without argument. The document went into the closed file with the temporary agreements and the sale papers. For a while, I thought sending it to Priya had ended 2 marriages. That gave me too much credit and too much blame. The folio did not create either affair. It removed the separate stories that allowed both of them to continue. Maren called the retreat women only because she believed the phrase would stop me from asking to come. Aaron used the same phrase because he believed it would stop Priya from asking why he was not there. One hotel room could hold both lies. One unchanged folio could not. If a document named your spouse and another married person on the same room, would you confront your spouse first, or send the record to the other household before anyone could rewrite the explanation?